Close, yeah. He's really, he's really close. He's working his tail off to get back, and he's close to being ready. He won't be ready this week, but he's getting a lot closer. So, and he looks good running. He looks good doing things. He's with Sal more than he's with Anthony now, and so he's getting close. So, but those are the kind of the longer term guys. The guys that I'm, try to shelter from anyone knowing are the guys that are short term.
I didn't see Breland Brand at the game. Was he?
Breland had a concussion. Suffered a concussion against Hawaii. Tried to fight through it, which we tell these guys never to do. You can't fight through a concussion. You don't fight through head, neck, and spine injuries. You just don't. You know what I mean? And he wanted to, and he came out last week, and he tried to practice on Tuesday, and he got about 15 minutes into practice, and he got nauseous, and his head started to hurt, and so we got him out. And like all guys with head injuries, we're just not going to play with it. So, I wish he'd have told me earlier. But he's one of those guys, like a lot of our guys. They just, his comment to me was, I didn't want to let the team down. And I love that, but not with head, neck, and spine.
Is Soso a cusp guy?
Soso is right now he's a cusp guy.
Oh, that's a hard word.
Hopefully he's leaning away from the cusp into hey, he's fine guy. Okay. Because with Nate being out, we need reinforcements, right? It was good to see Brandon Stevens get some play and do well. Unfortunate on the fumble, because that was right after a takeaway with decent field position, and we give it back. But we have a lot of confidence in him. One guy I just want to commend is Darren Andrews. Josh is getting a ton of the accolades as he should because he's just playing lights out. I mean, I don't know that I've been around a guy playing as well as Josh is, and we can be critical of the turnovers, and the throws, and we are, and he's more critical than we could ever be of him. But Darren Andrews is just, and we see the numbers, the 10 catches for 175 yards, but when you watch the film, it's the blocking, it's the total package, it's the effort. He played, I think, 89 plays. And his last play looked just like his first play in terms of effort. And that's the kind of mindset that's infectious, and that's what's growing here. I was really encouraged today and yesterday by where they were emotionally going forward, so that's a good thing.
Getting guys back on defense, do you think that will allow you to be a little more conventional and do things that you like to do going forward?
Well, I like to do a lot of things. That when I was a coordinator, I did a lot of stuff, carried huge packages of stuff because I wanted to be aggressive. It depends on what your personnel is. So, like last week, for instance, with Kenny down and Josh Woods down, we had to figure out a way to get our best 11 on the field. So as you guys we started the game, and you could call it a 4-3 or a 5-2, whatever you wanted, but it was, three big guys and Keyshawn and Jalen on the edge with Lil Kenny and Chris Barnes in the middle, and then when Josh came back, we moved into a little bit more of the normal 4-3 stuff and some nickel and mixed it up. But for us, if we can just keep mixing packages and become more efficient running it, it'll help us. It gives us more options to be diverse and not just be predictable, which is always your goal. The problem is when you're mixing and matching guys, you have to judge what they can and cannot execute, and that's the puzzle. That's the tough part. That's the tough part of coaching. So you do the best you can. I know this. Our players are all in on defense. Our coaches are, and we're gonna do our part. We're gonna do our part. We're gonna do our part. Okay, we're gonna do our part. We're gonna do our part.
How do you feel about pass protection? Have you been satisfied with it?
Yeah, I have. Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have. I think that. We're so hypercritical, though, Tracy. I mean, we go in there today with the players and look at the film, and, I don't think Josh got touched many times, but if they got close, what happened? Why? Let's figure it out. Was it footwork? Was it hand placement? Did we not make the right call? Was our alignment wrong? Were we looking at the wrong thing? Did we not communicate the right way and pick it up right? So it's been good, but we want it to be perfect. We want it to be perfect, and that's what we're after. But if we can keep that line healthy, and Sonny is good now. He's back practicing full speed now. Okay, and Powasi's doing a good job, and Josh Waraboko's getting some time, and Jacob Burton is getting some. He got some time in that first game. We're going to develop some depth there, but we need to stay healthy, because the guys that are playing right now are playing pretty well.
One of the guys who's been overlooked is Flintoff.
Oh, goodness sakes,
Doing
yeah. Incredible. He has had, he only punted once against Hawaii, and we teased him because one of our goals is to win the net punt. And we lost it by like a half a yard against Hawaii. But I think, we teased him because he's been killing it. And he had 4 inside the 20. And then, that was a pretty good punt returner. And he did a great job of stifling him. And he did a great job against Christian Kirk in the first game. So we've been really happy with him. Really, really happy with him.
How do you feel about your quarterback pressure? How do you feel about your pass rush?
I want it to be better. Yeah, I want it to be better. I'll tell you what happens is that they came out on that first 3rd and 11, and they ran the ball, And then what happens to guys is they start to go, crud, can I pin it back and go? We're going to be at our best when we, get a lead and we can rush the passer, because we're not enormous, we're big enough, but we're going to be at our best when we can do that. And we haven't really been able to do that, against a team where we can predict pass. When you're playing against some of these RPO teams, it slows you down a little bit. But I'd like to see more production out of our edge rushers. I think that we've got good rushers, but we gotta get going. What do we have, like 8 sacks or 9 sacks? I mean, we've got decent numbers, but I think on a consistent basis, being able to move the quarterback off his spot is what you want to be able to do. Make him look down. Make him flush. Against Hawaii, we had good pressure, but we lost the left edge about 5 times, and he was able to complete it down the sideline. So it's just a matter of, being symmetrical and putting dots on him and moving him off his spot. That's what you're always trying to do with your 4-man or 5 or 6 or 7-man pressures.
Is there a sense that maybe more pressure packages are staying? We
have tons of pressure packages, and we ran a bunch. See, here's the thing about pressure that people have to understand, and they say that this is coach speak or hyperbole or whatever. And I'm not saying that I'm the guru or the genius, but I've been very, very fortunate to be on some really good defensive staffs, coach some of the very best defenses that have ever played in the NFL, okay, and be decent here. It's hard to play defense in this day and age in college football with these dang quarterbacks that can run. It changes everything. So you have to be systematic in your pressure. And there's run pressures and there's pass pressures, and then there's kind of either or pressures. And, you got to pick and choose when you use them. I like pressure, but it's got to be good pressure. You can't just run pressure to pressure, it's got to be good pressure. You watch some of the defenses around here in the league or in the country, and you may think they're pressuring, but really they're just playing aggressive. And I think there's a big difference between playing aggressive and pressuring. Like, I think you can rush 4, and if your mindset is up the field and attacking, that creates the image of pressure. And we need to be more. We need to come off the ball better. Our linebackers need to strike better. And what's happened is that we've had to mix and match a little bit. I don't want to make excuses. I'm just giving reasons. And therefore we just haven't been as precise as we could be. You see a guy like Chris Barnes. Who's going to be a really good player. This was really the second game that he's played linebacker here at UCLA. The first game, he made a lot of tackles, but they weren't downhill tackles. This week, he was a little bit more downhill, but not even good enough, and he's just going to keep getting better and better and better at that, Lokeni was really playing his second game of college football, and, Lokeni is a middle linebacker. He's a Mike linebacker. He needs to be in the box, and when you get against some of these teams that spread it out, even with multiple tight ends, and they get him in space, it creates just a little bit of hesitancy for him right now because he hasn't done it enough, And so one of the great things about Lokeni is he's tough, he's physical against the run, and he's instinctive. But when you lack experience and you're seeing things for the first time and it's happening real fast, those instincts don't kick in. You know what I mean? They don't kick in because you're thinking so much. So then you go, so do we eliminate things to make it easy so they can play faster, but then you simplify yourself and you become predictable. So it's just a quandary that you get in when you're having to move players around. And I'll tell you this, we are fighting our ass off to get it right. Fighting our ass off to get it right, because with an offense that's rolling like this, we all feel the responsibility to make sure that we are getting them stopped when we need to, So.
Thank you.
Good deal?
There's an analysis if you ever had one, okay? And I'm sure
good.
most people think it's BS, but I can promise you, I have no reason to BS anybody, so, okay?